So we are going to start to understand, have an overview, have an awareness regarding Ansible. So what we see in this session, what we are going to see is we will introduce, we will have the Ansible architecture, we will discuss about the Ansible components, variables and interpolation, if we can, Ansible roles and Ansible Galaxy, what is Ansible role and how it is implemented through Ansible Galaxy, Ansible Vault, that is for keeping our secret informations. And then the main important part is the hands-on. Whatever we have discussed, the theoretical background now should be through a very useful demonstration. I will try to cover most of the things that we have learned. Okay. And then we will definitely have our question and answer sessions. So what and why we learn Ansible? A bit of history of Ansible, how Ansible should work or it works, and Ansible architecture. First of all, what is Ansible? That is the main question here, and why we are going to learn Ansible, isn't it? So as we were discussing in the other session that is on Terraform, we say that this Terraform was a provisioning tool, which we had seen through a demonstration, how easily we could provision our EC2 instance without touching the AWS console. That means we did not go into the cloud, but still we were able to, from outside, we were able to create some resources and use the services of AWS. That was beautiful. Now, Ansible is on the second part, on the second part of whenever, like the big brother, Terraform has done its work, completed with the configuration of the environment of whatever we say as infrastructure. Then comes in the same pipeline comes Ansible. So if my house is built, okay, what is my next step before we enter the house or before we start using or start living in the house? What we do generally, we make the interior decorations, isn't it? That means at least the house is a raw object that has its infrastructure, that is the rooms and the every amenities. But to make a living very peaceful, we need to do some not structural changes, but some configurations or what you say interior decorations, such that our living becomes more, very simple and quite comfortable, isn't it? Similarly, think of operations guys, and these operations guys, they toil every hour, and even in the nights when they were supposed to take rest after the day's hard work, they find that they have a phone call. They have to rush to the office or to the site and attend to some issues. Now they thought that, okay, if I had a tool where I could automate my configurations, because I have to maintain the servers, the various servers. It could be your database server, it could be your application server, it could be your production server, it could be your pre-production server, it could be your development server, it could be your, and that is not only one development server. There could be several projects running in an organization, and for each and every project there will be your development server and testing server, test servers, quality assurance servers. So many things are there. It is a nightmare. If it's a big organization, though you have a big operations team, but still the individual responsibilities cannot be, you know, you have to carry on with the responsibility day in and day out. So you thought if I had some automation tool where the daily activity, the scripts that I run, the manual things that I do, everything that I have a manual book, and I say whenever I enter the office, I will have these particular jobs running. That is one after the other. I have maybe a scheduler, maximum I have a scheduler. But if I had a tool which can help me in automating all my manual jobs, then it would have been best. If I had to install server, I had to install some software over 40 sites. Can you think of a big organization having offices, branch offices, or operational offices spread all over the world? So now what will happen is your head office, the persons who are there looking after the operations are the main guys, in an organization. So they have to go run here and there, attend to all of the servers. It is not physically possible and not feasible as well. So if they could sit in one place and could run the automation scripts or some scripts, configuration scripts, and automatically in one go, running one script, it was possible to install, let's say, Apache server, a Tomcat server, or some server, some application software all over the world, all the 40 sites. Wouldn't it be saving a lot of time? And the time is money. And also because you are using a very formidable tool like Ansible through this automation scripting. So what is happening is you can rely on this software because that is not going to, uh, you know, give any hiccups because they are so well tested and founded. So Ansible is a configuration management tool, is an automation and orchestration tool popular for its very, very simple installation. That is what one of the questions many students of mine will ask. Debashish, why should we use Ansible? Because I then tell them, did you have ever learned about Chef? Chef is another competitor of Ansible configuration management tool. Or did you ever use Puppet? Those are also popular. But they will say that if they had gone through them, then they will understand how steep the learning curve is, whereas how simple it is to learn Ansible. And that is what we have designed, that okay, we will also deliver the simple, and not only simple, this is a very popular tool. Remember, most of the organizations are going for Ansible because they will have a lot of knowledge base. Now, who is going to learn Chef and Puppet when the configuration itself will take 3 or 4 days to learn? It is very, I mean, in our main course, we compare between Chef and Puppet and Ansible, the installation types and all those things. That is quite hard. You have to learn a hard way to achieve a very simple thing. Whereas in Ansible, you can do easily a lot of things. The ease of use is what concerns the connectivity to the clients. Now, that is when you are working in a cluster of servers or nodes. When you are working on a single node, that's okay. Then there is not much of a difficulty with working with Chef, with Puppet. And of course, Ansible is the most popular. But when you have multiple nodes scattered all over the world in distributed locations, then the problem starts. The connectivity becomes the major bottleneck. Whereas that's why you have a big knowledge base. You have the company will because the knowledge base for Ansible is quite higher, bigger than that of Chef or you know your Puppet. So naturally, the organization will go for people who knows Ansible. Its lack of agent for Ansible. Now that is also a very important part. You see, the agents, it is a push mechanism, push model. So you just connect the master with the client. Master is the controlling, server, the controlling node. And all the other hosts scattered all over the world are simply the slaves. But most importantly, they need not be in a cluster. You do not need to maintain the cluster. To maintain a cluster is costly, is prone to frequent unavailability. You have to maintain it. You have to always be on the vigil. And there are so many things. So cluster maintenance is a very costly affair for any organization. But if you had some model where you did not have to maintain a cluster, use when use and stop. So whenever you want to do some configuration, use at that moment and then forget it. Use and throw, sort of. So you do not have any liability of maintaining the cluster, because unlike Chef and Puppet, you do not have to maintain the agents on the Ansible clients or the nodes. That is a big boon. And you do not have to have a lot of skills to get started with Ansible configuration management. Because the people working in operations are not very much IT, having an IT background of yeah, they are, of course. But operations guy are not like development guys. Okay, they need something to happen without much of an effort and skill. And that is what Ansible makes it very popular. Ansible functions by connecting via SSH. This is another big important thing. SSH is one of the most popular connectivity protocols available. SSH is the secure shell connectivity. Okay, and that is mostly available, and it's an open source. Therefore, it is very secured as well, tested. And that is one big advantage. Ansible will always function with SSH. We will see in the demo. So it doesn't need a special agent on the client side. That is the big boom. There is no need for any agents sitting in the memory as in a dormant state whenever, and keeps on sending the heartbeats to the main master server. Okay, there is no need for that. And by pushing modules to the client, so it's a push model, and the modules are the heart of Ansible. So you push the modules to the clients. Clients do not need to talk to the master. Master is the controlling node. Everything will be done from the master end. Client just sit idle. It can be a laptop, it can be a big server, or it can be a medium-sized server. Doesn't matter at all, the architecture of this. One thing is important, that you need to have Python on the client side. That's all, because Ansible is built on Python. And why? That is also a big advantage. Why? Because having a support model using Python gives you a very, very advantage, that software, that tool becomes a futuristic tool. So down the line, 10 years down the line, you learn today Ansible, and you can rest assured that this knowledge is going to stay in the market for coming many years, because it has been built. So every now and then there will be some upgradation. That is an open source, so it will be upgraded. But your knowledge base does not change, because you are going to, yeah, definitely you will further your skills on the tool, but your tool is not going to get obsolete. Like so many tools coming to the market, they are getting used and then gets obsolete. But here, the chances are very less, because it is built over Python. Python library is supporting the Ansible functions. Okay, so Ansible is an open source configuration management tool. What is the Ansible? Used for configuration management, can solve a wide range of automation challenges. That is very important. It is not one or two problems that the operations guy, even the development guys have while deploying, while configuration of the environment. But then it is Ansible which can solve a wide range and almost all of the automation challenges. Written by Michael Dehan. Michael Dehan has come as a great relief for this industry, who was looking for some configuration management tool which was simple to use and learn. Now Ansible is acquired by Red Hat. And can anybody tell me who is now the owner of Red Hat? See, Red Hat is a famous Linux platform. Okay. Red Hat had acquired Ansible, because Red Hat thought Ansible is going to be a tool which is going to stay in the market for long, and that is going to get upgraded, and being supported by Python, it is going to stay in the market for long. Yes, That is true. But then again, Red Hat was becoming so popular that one giant organization has taken over Red Hat. Can you name that organization? Red Hat has been acquired by IBM in 2019. So you can say IBM is owner of Red Hat as well as Ansible. So why Ansible? That is, I have given a Google trained result for Ansible and other competition in the market, and this is up to 2020. But in the meantime, even up to, because Ansible came into the market in 2017, and within 3 years it is the market leader, and now it is to 2024. It has surpassed any competition for that matter, like Chef, Puppet, or Salt. So you can see the blue ones. The blue one is the Ansible part. Chef was at that time was a competing band, but nowadays Chef is quite below, somewhere in this region. Whereas Puppet has come a bit up. Puppet is the orange one. Anyway, so that is very important. Why? One of the most significant advantages of Ansible is that it is free to be used by everyone. You learn it very simply without spending a penny, a cent. It does not need any special system administrator skills. So anyone stepping into DevOps domain without having much of an IT skill is fine, absolutely fine. Ansible is one of the most popular. Why? Because it does not need some specialized skills. Its modularity regarding plugins, modules, inventories, we will see that. And playbooks, very organized way of working on Ansible. And you can make a perfect companion to orchestrate large environments, large and complex environments, not only large. Ansible is one of the big advantages that it's lightweight and consistent, and no constraints regarding the operating system. It does not need to depend on a particular, it is not tied with any proprietary system. It is free. It is free, available, and it can be ported to on any, you name it, any platform. It is also very secure due to its agentless capabilities, like it can use with open SSH security features. That is one greatest advantage. Another advantage that encourages the adoption of Ansible is its smooth learning curve. We have said the learning curve is simple. So the Ansible architecture. Ansible architecture is fascinating, simple, modular, and less complex to understand. You can see just one diagram. I took only one or two diagrams to just simply explain what is happening as an architecture for an Ansible. Okay, let's start that you are a user. So see, we are the users. Okay. We are a DevOps engineer. We are a DevOps guy. We are writing Ansible playbook, something of a script. Like in Terraform, we have written some configuration files, Terraform files in the previous session. Similarly, here also, we write some declarative scripts, a configuration script, and put it over into the Ansible automation engine. That is, suppose some server is there and where you have installed Ansible. As simple as that. Or there could be some public or private cloud managed services which are taking the help of Ansible to do something. Or there could be some databases also getting some information or processing something over through the Ansible and getting it over onto the host. Some process will be done on the host. So this is the server, that is the master, and this can be one host. This can be one, or there can be hundreds of hosts. Agentless host. There is no agent. There is no need for this host to let Ansible know that I am on, I want to get your services. No communication. As and when Ansible master will need the services, or it will try to get something configured over the host, it will do. At that point of time, there will be some connection through over SSH. And there is, with the help of inventory, inventory is a place where you have the information of all the hosts, because all over the world, how will the master know where to connect and to work on which host? It is not possible unless and until you have an inventory. That inventory is by default the hosts file under Ansible. We will see that. In that, what we do, we will inform Ansible that there is a host which needs some configuration. Either some software has to be installed, or some changes have to be done, some user has to be installed, or some user has to be configured, or some file has to be removed or copied from the master. So many things, so many activities can be done. All, whatever you think of that you do it manually, can be done over through the script. And therefore, the script should know, the playbook should know that where should I play around with the configuration. The name is very appropriate, playbook. You write something to play or process something on a very remote, say, let's say this machine, this master control is in US, which is in, in Ohio, maybe in Ohio. The head office is in Ohio, and all your, whatever your system engineers, operations guy, or maybe they are working, maybe they are working all over the world. They can connect to this because your Ansible master is over here in this Ohio region. Okay. And you have installed Ansible over here. So that is considered a master. Ansible will use the inventory to understand which host it needs to configure. With the plugins, it will be able to use the networking resources. With the help of modules, that comes some inbuilt modules, whenever you install Ansible, there will be around so many modules. Many modules will be there. And that module is nothing but some programs. That programs will make a API call. So there are API programs. These modules through the inventory will make the use of plugins if there was some networking resources, and will call the API. API will take those calls through the programs, called modules, inbuilt or custom, or you can build your own module as well, and give it to, and therefore connection using some connectivity, SSH connectivity will connect to this, will do the changes, whatever according to the modules. It could be something like some software to be installed, some software could be configured, some version upgradation can happen, some antivirus can be installed, some files can be moved from master to this, or some files could be deleted from here. So many housekeeping jobs that day to day the operations team does, okay, through these modules. And we will see few of the modules in our demo as well. So the simple architecture is like, you are the master. You are the person who is writing this playbook. And through the playbook, you are using the inventory. Inventory gives all the node addresses, the IP address, and the alias name, how you will connect. What will you connect? Because SSH will work on the IP address to connect. We will see the connection. And then it will use the modules. And finally, see, this is an Ansible automation engine. So this is the master server where you have installed Ansible. Through the help of SSH and Python, yeah, of course, that is one minimum requirement, that whatever nodes that you are working or to be configured must have Python. It could be a Windows machine, it could be a Mac machine, it could be a Linux machine, whatever machine it could be. These are called hosts, remote host. Sitting here, sitting on the master, you are at the same time, it can be 3, it can be 300, doesn't matter. In one go, when you execute this playbook, let's say you are installing Tomcat. Tomcat will be installed on all the 3 hosts or 300 hosts in one simple execution of the playbook. Isn't it fascinating how simple but how efficient the architecture is? So the same thing, this is your playbook. You are writing a playbook, going through the inventories, going through the modules. Modules will help. Modules are small programs that Ansible can call these modules and through the playbooks, and the modules will do some specific functions over onto the host. So this inventory is nothing but a place on the master server which will list the hosts where playbook task will be operated. So it will say that I have a list of the host. I have 300 machines to be configured. So I have to give the informations, IP addresses, Ansible host name. And there it will. So this is a very important part of Ansible architecture. It is called inventory. And through the playbook describes the task to be executed, written in very simple language, which is, it's not a language, but it is called YAML. Yet another markup language, or YAML ain't any language. That is also one way to say YAML. It is not a language. It is just a sort of a rule guide of how, because YAML, JSON, these are the buzzwords nowadays because you operate on the internet. So what is the format of data exchange on the internet? Earlier, it used to be XML, but XML was quite cryptic. It was very strong. It was very strict in its use. But whereas JSON is, it is called JavaScript object notation. And that would be very simple to use because it has a key value pair. And because of this key value pair, that is the most favored way of data transactions over the internet. And that is what the REST API, there is another term called REST API. REST API, JSON, YAML, these are the terms that you must look into the internet and have a study of it. Why we need to learn about REST APIs? What does the REST API do? Transactional state. Okay, so basically, when you work on an internet, your applications are scattered over the internet. Okay, one application will talk to the other application. There will be a data exchange between the applications. You have to store the data into some NoSQL database, or maybe in a serverless mode, or maybe in a RDBMS platform. Whatever it is, you are working on a very virtual environment. And in that virtual environment, 3 things are very, very important. One is JSON. One is YAML. Okay. And then whatever you say, that is the configuration language. It could be HCL, HashiCorp configuration language, or whatever. It can be Groovy, through which you write your declarative script, or it can be Python scripts, or it could be Ansible scripts, very simple Ansible scripts written on YAML. Okay, So YAML, the JSON is your key value pair. We say it's a pair. This is a template which can be implemented through YAML. We will see that. And Ansible is totally written over YAML. And this key value pair, so simple structure. It is not complicated, as XML. XML is the extended markup language. Okay, it is very, very strict, and it is the learning curve for this is very steep. So we are going to, JSON has become, that's why JSON is a JavaScript object notation. So JSON. You will keep on getting these terms: JSON, YAML, Python, Groovy, Ansible, HCL, and so many things. That is, you write declarative scripts. You declare what you want, declarative scripts. Okay, so we will proceed like this. So as I told you, written in a very simple language called YAML, playbooks are like instruction manuals. You give some instructions, you give some declarations, declarative way. Now, you are going through this, and then you come to the modules. Modules are like tools, some tools or some small programs which have been embedded within Ansible. In the Ansible library, these modules are already there, available for your any work and conceivable work that you want to do for configuration. Can control system resources like services, packages, etc. Can you believe there are more than 750 core modules? So you cannot think of anything that you need to write your own custom modules. It is only very, very rare that you need to write any custom module. And I can assure you, not even 750, if you know around 20 to 25 modules out of this 750, you are more than job ready. Okay. Then the last thing, the components of Ansible becomes the configuration and the host file. So what we learned, playbook, these are organized structures and how you write the task. I will show you the diagram. The inventories, where you mention the host, wherever the hosts files are. And the modules, these are the programs or the codes which will help you to do some configuration job on the hosts. So host files are defined generally by the default under etc Ansible. When you install Ansible, you will see a host file will be also installed under this folder. You can also customize if you are not happy with the host file, you want to have your own inventory file. You can mention the location of that inventory file with the name. This is the default name of the inventory file, but you may decide that I want my customized name and use of inventory file, and you can do that. So you must put that under ansible.cfg configuration file of Ansible. I'm just going through a bit fast. So as we have already explained that you are writing playbooks. Playbooks, are written in YAML format. These are text files. It is absolutely text files. These are not to be compiled. That's all. But you maintain within YAML format, because after all, this YAML is a format which will work with JSON, and JSON works the way the protocols are designed for data exchange on the over the internet. I will just give you a bit of thing. Is YAML ain't markup language, so it is not a language to say, or you can say yet another markup language, yet another. So the playbook is an organized unit of scripts, defines work for a server organization written in YAML. So basically, it's a configuration file that as you write the Terraform files, TF files. Similarly, for Ansible, you write playbooks. So what is playbook? Playbook has a number of plays. You can organize the plays like you see. This is a text file written in YAML, and you can keep on writing your tasks. But then your playbook can go large and large and large. At one point of time, you may find it unmanageable because anything like you have a family. If a small family can be better governed, your family becomes large and large, and there is a lot of hierarchy. So in that case, the the control is lost. To get back that control, you organize the playbook into so all the tasks in form of a playbook where you put those tasks under each place. There can be hundreds of plays, and within each play there can be multiple tasks, and within each task there can be modules, various modules. Actually, these tasks are the tasks which are going to be processed on the host machine. There will be modules, there will be notify and a handler. Notifies are the triggers, and handlers, how you handle the. So these are the things that we have to learn. It is not possible to discuss all and everything in a single session like this. But yes, I'm just giving you that playbook is an organized way of writing your task. That's all. And the tasks are organized way of writing the modules. So you can have several tasks. You must not put everything in one task. It is not good. Okay. So you have to organize, you have to make your scripts more modular. Yeah, whatever little work you do it in a very scientific way, in a modular way. That is always a good thinking. You must not, I put it everything into one big task thing. And when one thing goes wrong, it will be very difficult to debug which portion got wrong. You will not understand. That's why you have to organize. So this is the way you organize your playbook. We will create a playbook in our demo. So these are Ansible playbook. Now all these materials will be there. This entire uh, will be there in form of your pages on our site. So you can go through all these documents again. So this is a very simple playbook with a single play. So what did we say? That there can be multiple plays. Here I'm writing the playbook with a single play. And within that, the name of a play is a simple play. And within that, you have organized maybe one or two tasks. First task, second task. So you are naming the tasks. So this is simple playbook. Then there can be multiple plays. So you say, this is my first play, this is my second play, and within the first play you have tasks, and within the second play you also have tasks. That way you can have multiple tasks. So multiple plays, and maybe this play is working on this particular host, and this play, some task will be operated on this particular host. Host means this is a database server. This is an application server, a web server. So there will be some application running. So you are doing some task over there. Here on the database, you are doing some MariaDB task. MariaDB is some database. Okay. So see, within one playbook, you are connected to different hosts, and you are doing different jobs. So you can have hundreds of hosts, and you want to do some different sort of jobs, maybe not the same job on all the 100 hosts. maybe 50% of the jobs will be the same and the rest 50% will be different. So you create two playbooks that way. There are very simple Ansible commands. I have noted down a few of them. That is, you first of all, before Ansible playbook, Ansible dash playbook is the main command. We will see. So you will first check the syntax, whether the syntax is correct. YAML is not giving any problem. Then you play the playbook, whatever the YAML that you have written, you say execute that, run the playbook. Then you can run the playbook with custom inventory. If you have designed your own inventory file and you have given it a name as inventory instead of host. See, I have not mentioned my inventory over here. I mean the host file over here. By default, the inventory file is the host file. Here you have created your own identity file for the inventory. So -i, you are mentioning which path and which location, what is the name. And then you are mentioning the playbook. Another way is also you can do step by step. That means you do not want to run all the tasks in one go. You want to make a pause between each of the steps so that all this scheduling, you can say you can have a scheduling done. So Ansible modules, as I told you, these are plugins or library plugins. There is a setup module, there is a package PIP. PIP is for Python. Some Python library that you want to use while you are executing some configuration through the Ansible. NPM modules. NPM is for your Node.js. All this, these are various server related modules that you can run. But those are very simple way of doing things. When you learn a package, you do not know whether you are using a yum package. If you know Linux, you will know that there are two families, the Debian family and the Red Hat family. So the Debian family will use the package manager as apt, and the Red Hat family will use the package manager called yam. But if you are not sure and you are not worried about, if you are package agnostic, that means whether you are using which family, Debian or this thing, if you want to get rid of that worry, you can use package. So these are modules. So with this package, you are given a layer that package will determine based on the host, whether the host is running with say Ubuntu Linux. Ubuntu is on the your Debian family, or that package can go to Red Hat Linux, and therefore it will use the YAM package manager. So you are making a layer on top of this. You do not need to worry. So these are various modules. There is a command module if you want to run the shell commands or the shell scripts, or you can use the shell module. You can use the script module. So many modules are there. We will use one of them, one or two of them. And I have listed down few of the very popular and commonly used modules. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. See, within 24 or within 25 modules, if you know very well, like the copy module, you want to copy a file from your local to a remote. You use simple copy module of Ansible. We are going to use this in our demo. So your job is almost 80% done. You know how to use it. That's all. So as I told you, out of 750 custom modules that you already have, inbuilt modules that you already have with the Ansible, you can use any. If you know this 25 most popular modules, you are a champion in Ansible. You can attend any interview. There is also one part called Ansible role. Like the playbook organizes your tasks, right? What we have learned, Your playbook can organize your task. Similarly, there must be someone who will control the playbooks, because at one point of time, when you write a lot of playbooks, then you need some tool within Ansible to control the playbook as well. And that is, you should not be, your code, your declarative scripts should not be out of control. So you use Ansible roles. In our main course, we we do a capstone project with the roles of Ansible, that is very important. But right now, I will just simply leave it that Ansible roles are created to organize your playbooks. So Ansible playbook organizes tasks and Ansible roles organizes playbooks. So more and more you are organized, you're organizing your modules, your tasks, and your playbooks, the more control you have on your scripts, because these are automation scripts and these are structure of, I will not go into the details of that. That is maybe it's time consuming. But as I told you, this will be created through some, galaxy called Ansible Galaxy. And you already, with the Ansible Galaxy, you can implement a role, and then that role will have your seal. This is the task. So in this task folder of this role, you will create a role. You will have all the tasks defined for that particular playbook. So many things are there. It will handle the tasks and the files, and there will be notify and handlers. So many things. But these are things that you need to learn. The learning is very simple. It is not steep, unlike the Puppet and the Chef. But still, you have to learn few things. You create an Ansible role with an Ansible Galaxy. It becomes you can do it manually. But why to use manually? If something is there to help you, use Ansible Galaxy, because this comes with Ansible. You create a role called Apache Demo. So any role name, you initialize it. And so a role by the role name was created successfully. So this entire structure was created for you. This entire structure, okay, will be created for you. Ansible Galaxy is like, you have some secret informations. You do not want to divulge that information with anyone else. So how do you, like in Terraform, somebody asked me how to store secretly those secret informations like the access key and the secret access key. We did not discuss that in details, but yes, there are few alternatives. In Ansible, it is very straightforward. Sorry, this is Ansible Galaxy. I will come to the Vault. Ansible Vault, like the Vault, the bank Vault. You keep your ornaments, you keep your money stashed in a vault, isn't it? If you have a lot of money, I don't have, so I don't use a vault. But somebody of you who are rich can store your excess money or some ornaments inside a vault. So what you do, this is a very safe place. You can hide your secret informations over here. Like you can create a vault, you can view, you can edit, you can encrypt and decrypt yourself. You can do with this Ansible Vault feature of Ansible, where you can Ansible Vault is a feature of Ansible that allows you to keep sensitive data such as passwords or keys in encrypted files. So the passwords, tokens, keys, you can store them without the access of others secretly. It's a very fantastic feature. Now you can use this command to create your, you can store your playbook, because there are so many information in the playbook that needs to be secretly hidden from the other viewers. So you can create an Ansible vault for the playbook. You can view the playbook. That means this is encrypted. Now you can decrypt and view it. You can do it because you are the owner of this playbook. You can edit the playbook, but within the vault, you can encrypt, you can decrypt, and you can also execute a playbook within the Ansible vault, and you can ask for the password. So many things can be done, but directly without taking your money out of the vault and then for the public display, you can operate your money from the vault itself. It is similar concept. Now, I think we are just 1 hour into our theory. So into our overview. Now, we are going to start our hands-on session. So what we will do is here, we are creating an infrastructure or an architecture. That means we need at least 2 EC2 instances. Just now, I'm going to create one master server and the slave server or the slave, a node. So the master will communicate on master is the controlling node, as we have discussed, where we will install Ansible and we will write our playbook over on the master. And the slave is one node. I'm not creating more than one node because it is not. If you can do something on one node, you can do it on 100 nodes. As simple as that. Okay. So we are going to use this host where we will process some job. Like in our case, in this demo, we are going to install from the master easily. Say this master is in New York and this slave is in, say, India. Okay. So this node needs some servicing or some configuration. What? So the manager told me that, okay, Debashish, why don't you do one thing? You write a playbook because I want this node to have Apache Tomcat or Apache, not Apache Tomcat, an HTTPD server or application, the web server to be installed on this. Because I have an environment, I'm setting up an environment for the development team, and the development team will need this Apache, that the web server on which they will write some applications for Java, maybe Java or something else. This is my first task. And let us see through our demo how we do execute that task. Okay. Are you getting me? So let me start. Please let me know if you can see the screen. I have already logged into my account in Mumbai region. We have already had a discussion on cloud, so I'm not going to repeat this, but I am in the Mumbai region. I have logged in with an IM user, DevOps trainer, and I am in that account called Kalkey training. Okay. I'm on the EC2 dashboard. I'm using an EC2 service. EC2 means the server I'm going to create. Right now, I do not have any instances. I will like to create. I would like to launch 2 instances in one go. I'm using this wizard. First of all, I would like to make this 2. Okay. I want to number of instances I want is 2. Let me start giving the name of one of the servers is master. Just a tag name. And I will quickly go for selecting the Ubuntu operating system, that AMI, Amazon Machine Image 22.04 Ubuntu server. That is the Linux machine that I want to use. I want to have an instance type. Let me go for a bigger one because maybe Ansible I'm selecting T2 medium. So both the servers will have T2 medium. Though generally the master server should be bigger and the host will be smaller. That's fine. This is for the demo purpose. And for any authentication, I would need the key pair. Okay. I remember from the other day, we not create this DevOps internship? We have created this DevOps internship PPK file, the key pair, because without the fingerprint, I will not be authenticated and log into that instance. Now, I'm going to get the default VPC. I'm not selecting anything else. I'm not going to edit or create any new VPC for this and any subnet. So there is no preference. Let it be selected for me, the available subnet, which subnet is whatever the subnet is right now having a smaller load. I will say auto assign public IP. All these things are done. I will select an existing security group. Security group is the firewall where I will not allow any application without obeying some rules. So I'm fencing my house with some security fencing. Okay. My house is my EC2 instance. So there are some rules. I have already created that rules. We can see there are inbound rules and outbound rules. So I'm going to allow the SSH connection because that is the prime requirement, as well as I'm going to allow for HTTP connections. So this SSH connection is on port 22. HTTP connection will be on HTTP application will be on port 80, and maybe the HTTPS with the security layer or the SSL certificates will be on another port called 443. Each and every application will have their own individual ports. So I have just I have given the permission for these sort of applications, SSH applications or connections, HTTP applications or connections, HTTPS application or connections to connect to my instances. And I'm creating storage. 8 GB is more than enough for me. So I will just have a review. I'm going to create 2 instances having T2 medium with a firewall launch wizard 3, some name, and the volume. So I am happy with this configuration. I will stay. Please help me to create these 2 instances. Okay, it was success. We'll go to instances and I will just start. One of them, because they are of the same configuration, what I will do, you see, this is launch wizard 3, both of them having the same key pair. So it's okay. And in one go, they have been created. Let this be master. And let this, I will change this one. I will name it as slave. Fine. So what I have done, I have created 2 EC2 instances where one is the master. I'm just giving it a name of this EC2 instance master to identify, and the other one is the slave. Is that fine? First of all, let me connect. I have this public IP address for the master. I'm connecting from outside, so I will be using only the public IP address. This IP address, which is the private IP address, is for the internal use. This is a secret. You cannot connect from outside using this. Okay, so I will now go to, because I am using a Windows machine. Somebody using Mac, they can directly use SSH through the terminal. I'm using remember the other day we have created this session. I'm going to load this. I'm not going to do it again. So I will just change the IP address. I will have a look. Yes, I will have what is the appearance? Yes, 14 point courier bold behavior. It is master. Fine. Connection. It is 5 seconds. Keep alive. Data is the Ubuntu auto login. SSH connection. I will have the authenticate credentials. I have kept this DevOps Internship PPK that I have downloaded while I created my key pair. I have kept it in a particular folder. It could be your downloads folder as well. You have to know where you have kept it. And then I will say, please save this configuration and open it. Yes. So what did I do? I have connected to 31, 38, 149. 172 is the most common internal private IP address. That is the, so 31, 30, 38, 149. Let me verify once. 31, 38, 149, 172, 31, 38. This is the internal or the private IP address. I have connected to my master. So what I will do is I will go to dot profile, and I am not very fond of the default prompt. So I'm changing the prompt a bit. I'm saying that let this be having a thing called master, or you can make it Ansible master, whatever you think. Ansible master. And then I will always like to see where I am, which present working directory, and I'm giving a prompt like this. So I will save this, and you see just now I will go and execute this with source profile. Can you see this has changed the prompt? And at the same time, what I will do, I will change the settings. I will say behavior, and I will say master. Let's say this will be the master. So I can exit from here. I can come back again because I've already saved the configuration. I will load it and I will again connect it. You see, this has been changed to master. The window title is master, so that I can identify my terminal. I can open several terminals. So I should name it properly so that it is easier for me to go through. So I have logged into this master server. There is another one, isn't it? So I will also open the slave, connect to the slave through SSH, through PuTTY. I will just copy this because my key pair is the same. So it is advantageous for me to use the same session. So what I will do, I will go over here. I will say open a new session. I will open the same session, load it. Only thing that I need to change is the IP address. I don't need to save it. I will just say yes. I will first of all verify whether I have correctly logged into my slave. So what is my slave? 31, 39, 170. Let me verify once. Slave 31, 39, 170. So this gives me the idea that I have correctly connected to my slave node. Okay. Similarly, I will go to the profile. I'll come down. I will say prompt variable, environment variable, and I will say this is slave. This is not an Ansible slave, just a slave. Because I'm not going to install Ansible. Remember, the hosts do not need to have Ansible installed. So I will not mention it as an Ansible slave. Yeah, I can use it as a slave for Ansible master. Okay. Source. I'm executing that profile. This is how I execute. So immediately the prompt has changed. I will change the settings. I will say the behavior, let it be called slave. So I have two terminals now. You can check. I have two terminals. One is the slave and the other one is the master. So that is important because at any point of time, I can either work on the master or I can work on the slave. I have nothing to do right now on the slave, but I have one thing to do on the master. I have to install. We have to install Ansible. the faster, right? We are going to do that. So I can follow. Sorry. No need. I will go over here and I will say I can copy this on the master. You see, I am on the Ansible master. First of all, I will check which Ansible, sorry, which Ansible. It does not give me. Where is Ansible? Nothing. Ansible is blank because we have not installed. Or Ansible version, nothing, because the Ansible is not found. Okay. With this information, I'm going to update my repository sudo apt update. Either you can say sudo apt or you can say sudo apt get. Both apt get is going to force it, but that's okay. So my repository, which is apt, apt is the package manager, because we have not gone through Linux, package manager for Debian family. And Ubuntu is part, Ubuntu Linux is part of Debian family. So therefore, it is going to use apt. And how do you know? You say uname minus R or A. Okay, uname, that means you are using a Linux system and your operating system is 22.04 Ubuntu. It's a Linux, but it is in the Debian family. So next command, I will install few of the supporting softwares needed by Ansible. So that is one called software properties common. I can give it why. I don't want to be interrupted. Okay, it does not give, it did not install it because it already found that it is of the newest version. And this property is called idempotency. If a system, Linux is a very uh, idempotent system. That means it will not repeat an installation if the software is already available in the latest version. So it found that software properties common is the newest version. So why should I overdo it? There is no need. And that term is a very important interview question. What is idempotency? Anyway, so what did I do? I have done this. So we'll go to the third part. I'm saying, please update the repository with saying that in the apt repository should be ready for getting the archive for Ansible. You can go to say PPA for Ansible. PPA is Personal Package Archive for Ansible. Okay, it's a repository, allows developers to update Ansible with the latest versions. You have to make a provision for that. So what we are doing, we are adding to the repository. Done. So we are also now, just let me know if you are able to see the screen. We have come to the last part, So where we will say sudo apt install Ansible, and please do not ask me further because I am approving it for the installation. No need for stopping for my verification whether I want to proceed. Yes, I want to proceed. So can you see that it is installing the PPA version for Ubuntu for Ansible? And also with Ansible comes the Python. Python is Ubuntu comes with two already installed systems. What are they? One is Git and the other one is Python. So Python 3 is already available with it is bundled with the Ubuntu package with the Ubuntu operating system. If you say no, so Ansible is installed. So if you say Python 3 version, so I have not installed Python. Python is already there. And on top of Python, we have installed Ansible. So there are few libraries which have been downloaded for Python to support Ansible. That is what we have done already. Now, if you say Ansible version, yes, you are going to see Ansible core version 2.16. And this is the Ansible config file, ansible.cfg. These are the various things. It is saying Ansible Python module is found in this particular location with Python 3. Ansible collection location, this one. Executable location, user bin Ansible. Python version is 3. Jinja is the template. And it's a different topic for Ansible. We will learn in the main course. So Jinja 2 is a very, now it is not only Jinja 2, it is Jinja 3, which has come into the market. That is a very dynamic way of configuration management. We will learn it. So everything is done. If you say which Ansible, it is there. Or if you say where is my Ansible, you will see everywhere. Under user bin, under etc Ansible, user share Ansible, user share, whatever. I am going a bit fast because the time we only have 30 more minutes, 25 more minutes. Okay. I hope we will achieve that. So we have installed Ansible. We have installed Ansible on the master node, right? The control node. So one thing done. Now I will do one thing. There is a sudo vi, because who am I? I'm not root. I'm Ubuntu user. So Ubuntu is one junior administrator. Root is the senior administrator, or root is the super user, whereas Ubuntu is a bit lower in the rank, junior supervisor. But it has some privileges which can work with the root files. So I'm saying sudo, I'm going to a folder which is actually owned by root, which is etc folder, and I'm going to sudo vi, sorry. I'm going to write something over into the host file of this one. So 27001 is the local host. That is fine. That is already every machine will be a local host. But at the same time, I'm just going to mention that there is a trusted server, which is this is just giving me an alias. So what is my IP address, public IP address of the slave? I'm picking up the public IP address of the slave. I'm putting it over here. And then I'm saying giving it an alias name, slave, capital slave, or you can give it small, doesn't matter. Just to differentiate, I am making it capital S and the rest. So this is slave. You can name it anything, whichever is suitable for comfort you are comfortable with. Okay. So I have just put in this information such that I do not need to remember this big IP number, IP address. I will refer it with a small name called slave. That's all. So it is in the host file. I have saved it. Come out. Normally, you should have, I can connect from one host to the other host using SSH with the SSH protocol. But I can also, my Ubuntu, this slave is also logged in as Ubuntu. Okay, so I'm going to connect to the slave. And what is the IP address, public IP address? I do not need to know it. I just say, because just now I have made an alias name called slave, right? I would like to connect it. But one question, do you know the password of Ubuntu? No, because Ubuntu root, these are, whenever you go into a system like EC2 instance, which is maintained over the AWS Cloud, you cannot go with a password authentication. You have to go by the what? Public key authentication. That is called the fingerprint. So naturally, I will like to connect it, but it is going through fingerprint authentication. But do you have that fingerprint? I would say I would like to connect it, but it is saying that no, I don't have permission to connect to the slave because the fingerprint is not a fingerprint of what happened here. The fingerprint of the master node, what happened? So again, it is okay. It is saying fingerprint of the master node is not available with the slave, slave node. Slave, again, I'm saying slave is just a term, an IT term to indicate that there is one master and a slave. It has nothing to do with the literal meaning of slave. Please excuse me and forgive me for that, because that is a usual term. It is nothing to do with any harsh word. Fingerprint of the master node is not available with the slave node. Therefore, if you are entering into your office and there is a biometric, if your biometric is not saved with that office, so will you be allowed to enter the office? No. Either you will be retina scanned or you will be finger scanned. I mean, the fingerprint scan will be there. But if you do not have anything, your door will not open for you. So similarly, I see that the master node does not have not shared its fingerprint with the slave node. Therefore, it is not achievable. The connection is not getting established. So what we do, we will try to we are going to create a public key for master node, which will be shared with the slave to establish an SSH connection between the master and the slave. Okay, that is what we are going to do now. So there is a fantastic, there is a folder called .ssh under wherever you have logged in as Ubuntu. And there is a file called authorized keys that is everywhere. Even in the slave, if you go to .ssh folder, dot means it's a hidden folder. And there is an authorized keys. And if you check the authorized keys, because we have used the fingerprint DevOps internship. Remember, we have attached this key pair when we created our instance. So, and from putty, we were able to match this fingerprint. So this fingerprint is available with the both the servers. So this is the slave. If I go over onto the master, Ansible master, if you say authorized keys, you will also see the DevOps internship, isn't it? Because we have created both the instances with the key pair DevOps internship. So from outside, we were able to use that fingerprint because that fingerprint was downloaded into our Windows system. So that is fine. But now the question is, sorry, the question is whether my master have any authentication with the slave. That is what we are going to do now. Right now, SSH connection cannot be established because there is no key in this file which has something of a master key, that is the fingerprint of the master. So it will not connect. I will come out of this from the slave. I will go over here. Oh, let me be there. Okay, I will open this because that is where I need to place it. So I will do that. What I do? I go there. I will say SSH key generate a key pair. I mean the fingerprint public key pair. Yes. On the Ansible master, you are definitely has to be sure. I will press. This is a utility from the SSH Open SSH protocol suite. I want to not change the name. I am very fine with this name, ID RSA. Name does not matter. I don't want to protect it with a password. So I'm not giving any password to that. So my fingerprint, this is an RSA encryption. A fingerprint has been generated on the master. So the master is having a fingerprint. How? How do you know? You go to .ssh. The fingerprint will be created. And do you see that this is the private and this is the public? I will never share the private one. Of course, I will share the public one. There is a utility called SSH copy ID with which you can copy the public key from your master to the slave. But I'm not going to do that right now because I have to do some configuration to in order to do that. What I will do some manual thing. What I'm doing, I will open this file and this is my fingerprint. You see, this was fingerprint on 31, 38, 149. So I go to master and you see it is 31, 38, 149. So that is a fingerprint generated on the master. I will copy the entire thing. Remember, I will copy this. The entire thing is a key, public key. I'm doing it from ID RSA pub, not from ID RSA. Okay, I will copy this. I will go to my slave. I will go to my slave and I will paste it over here so that the authorized keys of the slave does have two keys. One is from outside with the DevOps internship key pair, and the other one is internal. That means this is the master, the key pair which was generated in the master. So once I have this, I will save this, come out in the slave. So the slave is now having two key pairs, this and this. Now, will I be able to connect? Okay, I come out of this. I go to my home folder of the slave. So we are on the slave. We are going to switch over to the master. My work is done. So I will come out without saving anything. I will go to my home folder. Okay. And now I will again issue the same command. SSH. I want to connect the master. It's a one-way connection. See, it is a push model. Push model is for Ansible is like master will connect to host, which is slave, not the other way around. That means slave does not need to connect to master. It's a one-way communication. So I'm on the master. I will now check whether SSH Ubuntu, Ubuntu is the user, and where will I like to connect from the master? I would like to connect to the slave. So I say, because that is an alias name, I do not need to remember my uh, public IP address. Okay, I will right now. I will try this one. Do you see magic? Did you connect to the slave from the master? Yes or no? You have tried to connect earlier, it was failing. But now, since your slave has the copy of the fingerprint generated on the master, so their SSH now is possible. It is possible for SSH to connect to the slave. This is slave. How do you know that? How do you know that? There is a command called hostname CTL. You check the IP address, static hostname, the private IP address 172.31.39.172, 170. So I go to slave. You see 172.31.39, 170. It is matching. So this is the slave. Clear? So, and now I can exit, because after all, this is the master terminal. I have logged into slave. That's okay. I want to exit or log out. So there was a logout, a connection to the slave was closed, and you are back to Ansible master. Fantastic. Now I would like to see it Ansible way. This is the Linux way. Linux way to establish a connection with the master and slave. So from the master to the slave. That was done. So I will go back to my thing. I have established all this thing. Yeah. And I will go to the next slide. I will go to the Ansible way to connect to the remote slave. See, if you can connect it over Linux, you will be also able to connect over Ansible, because after all, Ansible uses the SSH same way. But I have to do a bit of configuration. So what I do, I will be on the Ansible master and I will go to this particular file that is also called, I'm on the Ansible master. I'm using sudo because that etc belongs to root. And this Ansible was installed, and then the host file is under the Ansible folder, but it is belonging to root. So I'm using sudo for Ubuntu. Here, there is everything is commented out. I can go to the very end. I will insert, and let's say I would like to do some. This is my inventory file. Remember, we have discussed inventory. This is my inventory file where I will give the information of my slave, where the master will connect. So I go over here. I will just put in, I'm saying within the bracket, I'm giving a group, because in that group, you can have a group of or multiple servers or hosts, but I'm not going. Let's say this is India. In India, there are 30 slaves, which the company wants to configure. You will give all the details of those individual slaves, but that is a group. Here, what I will say remote underscore hosts, some name does not matter. And I'm going to give it a alias name as Ansible slave. Just give some gap, and I will say Ansible host. Ansible host. That is a Ansible term, keyword, to mention that this is the alias name, but actual IP address is the public IP address. So I will go there. I will pick up this public IP address and I will show. So what I did, I told to the inventory, which is the host file, saying that I have a group called remote host and I have configured this as and the alias name as Ansible slave. Actually, the host is with this IP address. So I will, because if I had another few servers, I would have listed down like this, another one. So this one can be Ansible or the slave India 1. And similarly, you give something Ansible host, give another IP address, and there can be another, say, slave India 2. So there can be hundreds of those configuration. Right now, I do not have that many hosts. I'm working with one host. If I can work with one host, I can work with hundreds of hosts, isn't it? That is the logic. So I will save it now, come out. So I have done that configuration. And now sitting on the master, I will try to connect to my slave, but the Ansible way. Ansible way. Because Ansible will go through the SSH, connect to that and gather information from that server. If it can gather the information from that server or the host, then it is absolutely wonderful. Let me do that. And the way to do that is Ansible, the module. We are using a module called ping module. See, this is a program which is inbuilt within Ansible, and I'm pinging. Say, what is the name of the host? Ansible slave. This is the alias name. Let me check. I will say you want to do this. For the first time, it will ask for the fingerprint validation. Check. And it is giving me Ansible slave connection is success, and it is gathering the Ansible facts, and it has discovered one interpreter called Python is already available in the slave, because that is very important. It will first try to find out whether your host has an installation of Python, because otherwise Ansible will not be able to work and deploy the jobs, configure things over on the host. Is that fine? Another thing, I want to connect and check with all the hosts within that group. So I can also do this like this. Instead of mentioning individual hosts, I can go for the group. What is the group name? Remote underscore hosts. Yeah, of course, within that group, there is only one server, I mean the host. So it is basically going to connect to your Ansible slave. So either you individually can connect and do the service, or you can, if you want to do at the same time, the same jobs have to be deployed onto hundreds of those hosts. So you call the group, you connect to the group. That's all. How simple it is. Okay, I have done a very important part of this. So this connection was done. Now the main part. I will, on the Ansible master, I'm going to create a playbook.
I have a quick question, sir.
Yeah. Tell me.
So when you say like for the group, I know you said you can list different several groups, but if can you log it into if you have to launch a job into for one into like several if you have to launch a job into like several other server, can you list the IP addresses into the same group like 1, 2, 3 like?
Oh yes, why not? Why not? Or maybe suppose you want to have in a particular, say there is a group called web servers. So in that, there are particular hosts where you want to install web server. Then there is another Java servers. Okay, where you have a list of hosts where you will install Java. There is another. So you can do the grouping according to your need. Or if you want to do everything in one under one group, you list down all the hosts where you want to do or deploy all the jobs together.
All right, thank you.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Very good. So now I am coming to the main part. Let me create I'm on the Ansible master. I'm creating an Ansible, any folder. You can name it anything. And just for the sake of readability, I'm saying Ansible work. Right now, this is empty. There is nothing. I will create a playbook 1.yaml. You can name it anything, but always give it either YAML or YML. Both are the same. As we told you that whenever you declare any scripts or write any scripts on Ansible, it will be on a YAML format and with a JSON type of exchange of data over the internet. So I will copy this to save our time. What I have done is I will copy this. I will explain you. No need to worry. Okay, just give me 2 minutes where I will indent it correctly. This is not the correct indentation because I have copied from a different thing. I'm using VI. I will indent it correctly. Okay, I know that this YAML file always will start with this 3 dashes. That is an indicator that you can have multiple sections of the YAML file. And it starts with the hosts. I will first of all, let me indent it properly. Then I will explain you. I will tell you what I'm doing. I will inform you. Yeah, you have done that. What I did is after we had given these 3 dashes, I'm mentioning the hosts. Remember, what was the host name? I could have, because there was only one host. So I was easy. It was easy for me to just give the name of the host, and that host name is Ansible slave, right? Or because there was only one thing, so you could also have given a remote hosts. The same thing. Either you do this or that, because in the ping module, I have successfully demonstrated that either you connect with Ansible slave, that is the name of that particular this thing, or you can connect with the group. So let us, because I'm using only one slave, so that's okay. Oh, there is no underscore. So you must be very particular with what name you have given. You want to become, yes, these are the various clauses of Ansible. You can, okay, these are not the modules. These are just the keywords that make up Ansible configuration, Ansible configuration. Yeah. So you say that you become, yes, whatever the user you are logging with, you become that user. So what is that you become a sudo user. Become method will be a sudo, and if needed, you become user root. So all these privileges, this is escalation of the privileges. You, if it is needed, then you escalate to those privileges. If not, no need. Name. So this is the name of the play. This is my play for Apache installation in slave. In the slave, we are installing Apache task. See, under each play, there will be task. One of the tasks is you want to copy. See, everywhere I am coming two places towards the right. That is YAML. Here also under task, these are the various arguments of task. And I'm coming two places towards the right, and then I'm saying dash name. And this dash because you can have multiple tasks. It's a sort of an array. Then I'm giving the name that is just the name of the task. Copy the shell script from master to the slave. Copy. This is the module. So what is this module doing? It is copying a source file by this name test script. We have not yet done this. We will do this. Test script to the destination. Destination where? This is the source means to the local machine, that master from somewhere. This tilde means your home Ubuntu, the home folder of the user logged in Ubuntu. So tilde slash test script. I will create that under home Ubuntu. And in the destination, I'm mentioning the absolute path because in the destination, I do not know whether it's Ubuntu logged in or some other person logged in, some other user. So but I would like to say copy this file from the master to the slave into this folder with the same name. And I'm making this owner of this file as Ubuntu, group Ubuntu, and I'm making a permission mode 0507550 is for directory. It's not a directory. So 07 is read, write, execute. You know, I am not going through all these details, but read, write, execute. So read is 4, write is 2, and execute is 1. So 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7. So what about this is the user Ubuntu. What about the group? Group is having a read write permission, read execute permission. Read execute means read is 4 and execute is 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5. And the group and the others is also read execute. So you are saying that Ubuntu can read write execute. The group also can read and execute, and the others other than Ubuntu can also read and execute, but cannot write. Only the user Ubuntu can write. Anyway, so you have copied this file with certain permission. And finally, you are creating one more task that this is to execute on the remote slave server. What are you executing now? This command. See, this is a module. This is a command which is also a module. The module will help you to execute with the API call, REST API call, because it is executing over the internet. So you are executing with a shell command. So shell execute because this is a shell script. You are executing this. So whatever it is there. Another task within the task is update the package repository. Anytime I want to install the main software, I have to update the repository. So I'm using, this is another module. All these things I cannot go into the details of this because time does not permit. What we can do, we are using a module called app, and it is like you are giving a command. You are giving a command like sudo apt update. If you are doing it on the shell command and the shell prompt, but you are doing it as a module. So you just call that module and the module will update the cache saying yes. Sudo apt update. The same thing. And once you have updated the cache, updated the repository, then it is the time to install the server, the Apache on the slave. Where it is installing? You have already connected to Ansible slave. You are doing whatever you are doing on that host, connected host. You are again using apt module, and it is basically you are doing like this. You are doing like this. Sudo apt install Apache 2 and latest. So latest version. The state is latest. Isn't it the same thing that what you could do manually, you are doing automatically inside the script, Ansible script? I have done my part. We will save and come out. So a playbook has been created. Okay. Just 1 minute. I will go to the slave. Do we have anything called Apache? So we can check sudo service Apache 2 status. I would like to see whether Apache is running on the slave. No, the unit Apache 2 service not found on the slave because we have not installed. We will not install manually. We will do it through the playbook from the master. See, master is on somewhere separate, not in the same host. These two are two different servers, master and the slave. But you are doing everything from the master. Now I will go back. So this part, I think you have got it, what we are trying to achieve. And finally, we are going to create our script where in the Ansible master, because from here only, so I will go back to my home folder because this is where it is picking up, isn't it? So I will say vi, what is the name? Test script, test. See, right now, there are nothing called sh, no shell file. So I will create a shell file, script.sh. Simple. This is a shell script. You know, when you learn Linux, I will just copy and paste it over here. I will explain you what I'm doing. Let me indent it correctly. Now, this is a shell environment, bash environment, born and only shell. And you are saying, hello, Ansible. So that is a text, a message will be saved into a file called slave output.log. And I am on, then you are adding, you are appending double redirection. These are all shell scripting terms. Double redirection. So you are in the same file, but you are adding this another line. Another line has been added in the same file. And then you are echoing within that, you are mentioning host name CTL. That means you wanted to check the configuration of that host and putting that information into that same file, log file, and ending the log file. So this file is not going to be generated. This file is going to be generated where or executed where? On the slave. So I have created this, and now I will change chmod 755 test script. You will see there is a file called test script. It is an executable file. Can you see rwx rx? It is in green and star. So it is an executable file. I will copy this file from here onto where? Onto the slave through the Ansible module. That is the beauty. Now, I have done a lot of things. The last stage is I am going to check the syntax. First thing, I'm on the master. I will go to my Ansible because that is where my playbook is there. Okay. I will say Ansible playbook is the utility or the executable. Ansible playbook, please execute the playbook YAML, playbook 1.yaml, and please check the syntax. If you get anything in red, that means it is something wrong. No, I did not get anything wrong. So everything was fine. The syntactically, it is very, very correct. Okay. So with that good news, I will finally execute this and I will do some debugging. I will put that thing over here, the syntax. So I will do some debugging with a verbose. VV, double level of verbosing. Okay, verbose means you are giving more debugging messages. Okay, or you may not give, but I would like to see if there is something wrong. So let's execute this. What I'm doing, the last stage, I am executing this. I will explain you what's happening. Now it is updating the package repository. This is the name of the task. Install Apache 2 on the slave. Now we are installing Apache 2 on the slave. See, I am on the master, and on the sitting on the master, I was able to do some activity on the slave. Everything worked fine because you can see the ultimate summary of the activities on the Ansible slave. There was connectivity and this and that. All the 5 things were done, including the connection, gathering the facts, and so many other things. And the change. So something you have executed, you have copied, you have executed the script, then you have installed, updated the repository. All these things are nothing part of the change. There were 4 changes done. There is nothing failure, no skipping, nothing was unreachable. So it was reachable. I will explain you uh, what happened is because I have given verbose. So it is giving some more details. Otherwise, it would have just given you the white ones, the white ones, the green ones, and the yellow ones. That's all. But since I'm doing it much more, so it is saying it is playbook. This is the playbook name. The play, what is the play name? This is my play for Apache installation in slave. Remember, I have given this play name. What it did was connected to the Ansible slave in green. So this green means success, and it gathered the facts. If it could gather the facts, that means it was able to connect to the slave. Then the next task it did was copy the shell script from the master to the slave. That is the name of the task. It did it. It connected to the Ansible slave. It already connected. It changed. It changed means it copied the file from the master to the slave. Next task was to execute on the remote slave server. It could do. It could execute that shell script on the Ansible slave, and we will see that what happened. Then it updated the package repository. It is like the update cache, yes, with the app repository. It is like sudo apt update. So it was this green, this yellow means the change means it is correct. It has updated the cache. Then finally it installed the Apache on slave, Apache 2 on slave. So all these things were verbose, and it successfully did it. If now my question is, I'm on the master. Did it execute anything on the master? If it had executed on the master, then you would have got that log file. But did you get that log file over here? No. Let's go to the slave. And in the slave, first of all, I will check, Did you see the test script? I did not create this test script over here. It was copied from the master. And can you see the slave output.log? Let me say cat this file. What is there? It is exactly what you have done in the shell script. Hello Ansible, I am on. What is the IP address? So that means, is it the slave? Let me check. 31.39.170. You see this one, correct. 31.39.170. Yes, correct. So you are on the slave and you have created this slave output.log because you have executed this shell script. This is the output of the execution of this shell script. Okay, one more thing is left. I would like to check whether an Apache was installed. So what is the command? Sudo service. Otherwise, earlier we could not find it. Now let's see. Sudo service Apache 2 status. Oh yes, it is active and running. Where? On the slave. Apache 2 service, which is the Apache HTTP server. It's a web server. Okay, fine. If it is there, then I will do some more validation. Deep Debian package, because it was there. So let me check in this Debian package of the app repository, was Apache 2 included or installed? Yes, we have Apache 2, which is an Apache 2. This is the service which is running on a port 80. But we have to verify that. Okay, how do we verify that? I will also go for the version. What is the Apache version? Yes, correct. It is server version Apache 2 on Ubuntu. Okay, I would like to install some networking tools because I want to check the network statistics. So I'm installing some tools. So simple it becomes. My life of an operation guy or a development guy becomes very simple. I can do all these things very easily. And after that, I would like to verify which port, because I have installed Apache and Apache should be is an HTTP server, so it will be on 80. So let me check. Yes. It's a TCP port 80 has been occupied, is listening on port 80 for Apache 2. The port is 80. And we have also verified our slave output.log. And now the last thing, I will go to my browser and I will say HTTP. What is my public IP address of the slave? I will go over here, public IP address, because I'm connecting from outside. So I have to use public, never the private. This is my slave IP address. And which port? 80. Can you see Apache? The page, welcome page of Apache is displayed. So this is my demo. I hope you have enjoyed every bit of it and you have understood a lot. Maybe I'm very sure you cannot learn everything in one day. It takes a lot of effort, but at least you have got the essence, and that is my objective.
Please,
Thank you
can you
very
show
much.
the last slide again quickly?
Which slide? The last slide,
The
right?
last slide. Yes.
Yeah. Can I open it? Wait. I
I'm
will
good.
expand it. Yes. Can you see it now?
Yes, you're very fine. Okay.
So you
I'm
said
good.
we can have access to those slides, right?
No, you have this access to the slides. You just go into our site. All these slides,
On
will be there.
the hands-on.
The hands-on. This recording is available. One thing, this recording is available. You will go into our site with which you have registered, and then you can go through the recording once again, or you can go through the recording again and again, as well as you will get these slides chapter wise.
And also, I have a quick question. When you open you copy the script, you VI into the playbook
Yeah.
that YAML, and you copy the
Ye-
script. The three
Yes.
dashes. What is the meaning of the three dashes again? You said
Yes.
something, you know.
The three dashes is for any YAML. When you write something in YAML, whether it is Ansible or Terraform or a Jenkins pipeline script, wherever you write YAML, you will use, or maybe GitLab. In GitLab also, we are going to learn writing YAML scripts, pipeline scripts. This indicates that there are multiple sections of that YAML code. It is not that, it is not that, it is just a convention. It is not very
Okay.
mandatory, but it's a convention. It's a good standard practice. See, why I'm always giving importance to standard practice, because when you work in a very good organization, there will be certain tools used by the quality assurance
No,
team
no.
to check your code. If your code does not follow the standards, it might be rejected. Even if the code is producing the exact result what you wanted, but it may get rejected. So always better to follow the standard practice.
Mhm.
Those three dashes are to indicate that this YAML code has multiple sections,
Mhm.
multiple plays. Okay. If
Oh,
if you had one play, you may not have given this dash dash dash.
all right. Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.